All right. Good afternoon. This is Eddie Cruz with Trucking Master CDL Training. Like the description, I actually going to be coming live every Sunday now because I want to be able to address any questions that you might have about CDL training. If you're currently in the CDL school, I want to help you get the best of that training. I want you to be able to get your CDL, even though you be in a school that you might not feel like you're being trained properly, right? So I'm going to be able to, so as you're coming in, go ahead, put your questions, and then we'll talk about it. In the meantime, I'll start talking and see who comes in. All right, cool. So the reason why I'm coming in live every Sunday now with a new topic um, is because I want to make sure that my current students and past students are updated with anything I'm doing with the CDL. Now, training and working in a Department of Correction environment, I'm limited to what I can say because I want to make sure that safety and security doesn't get compromised. But at the same time, I want to be able to pass on what I've been doing for the past 27 years and my success as a truck driver. Everything going from my experience while I was in a CDL school, my first day out by myself, the entire process that I was driving, even talking about relationships, because that's kind of like some of the questions I get asked. How do you hold on to a relationship um, while you're working 14 hours a day? How's that even possible? So we'll talk about that. I'll give you my opinion, and we'll discuss other truck drivers' experience as they were passed on to me, and we'll see how it goes. All right. So we'll see who jumps in. In the meantime, I'm just gonna talk about the beginning. Why are you becoming a truck driver? That's the first thing I ask every truck driver that I've ever trained. Why trucking? Why trucking? That's the seventh most dangerous job in America. That's just something that is extremely dangerous. If you don't get trained properly, there's a good chance you're gonna check out. Um, the benefit for me is that I was able to be trained by very professional individuals. I was able to identify certain people that I knew I can emulate. I knew I can emulate them. I knew that by adapting certain specific traits that I can use um, for my to make sure that I can not die doing it. You know, so I was able to kind of focus on senior drivers. So while I was driving, I always looked out for senior drivers. Like who's the senior driver? Who's the top 20-year vet, 10 years, 15 years, 10 years and above? I would say 10 years and above. You can get some good information how to productively do this job. So I spend many times spending time with senior drivers, just senior drivers. Just go with them 14 hours a day, 15 hours a day. So that's what I did. So for years and years and years, I just focused on the senior drivers. The way of thinking. You spend 14 hours a day with somebody. Eventually, you're gonna start adapting the way they think. You adapt the way they think. You adapt the way they talk, and eventually, you adapt to what they do. And that's when things starts kind of like really taking form on how you're gonna progress as a truck driver. And I was able to successfully do that to the point that, knock on wood, I was able to do 1,000,000 miles, which I've talked about it 1,000 times in my videos, with no accidents, zero accidents. And I'm proud of that because I was able uh, to pass on that information to be able to successful truck drivers out there, produce successful truck drivers out there. Did I get it right all the time? I did my little trial and error, trial and tribulations, but and it wasn't enough that I was able to, um, die from it because obviously I'm still here. But it was very organized, um, very organized structure that I needed to be able to take certain aspect of them. To be more specific, there's one driver that he just knew how to back up so perfectly. I mean, I was a rookie and I was sitting in the passenger seat, and I was in the passenger seat, and the way he moved that vehicle was just beautiful, you know. Um, and that's something that I always like. I always was impressed because you're driving two vehicles, tractor trailer, and the way he backed up that vehicle was so amazing that I just kind of like focused on how he's doing that, how he is able to manipulate that vehicle so perfectly like that. So I was able to adapt that from him, you know. Um, Spent years perfecting backing up. I did truck washing. I did everything I can just to kind of implement what he was giving me on the road. And as he was talking to me, I was able to implement those maneuvers um, while I was still training at school, while working at US Foods. I was able to get hired with my permit, and as long as I could drive with a senior driver, I was okay. And then other aspect was more like how to talk to people, how to communicate with people. You know, you can't just go out there and thinking that because we're truck drivers, we have this chip on our shoulder. Yeah, I can't do that. You know, because you do represent the company you're working with for, or if you start your own LLC, you represent your company. So you have to learn how to talk to people. You know, we even though there's not that many of us, um, you still have to, represent yourself as being a professional. So you can't go out there and just start doing willies at people parking lots and stuff like that, or talking as if for some reason you're some kind of higher rank of human being, you know. So kind of like the humble part of it. And this individual was so excellent on talking to people that I was able to adapt that. Now I went out with other drivers that the way they talk, I was like, I would literally take one step kind of this way away from them, just because the fact that the way you're talking to that person and the customer, yeah, man, something about that not right. And I remember, I'm not gonna go in details, but there were just things that I didn't want to talk like that. I really didn't want to talk like that. You know, I saw the negative impact that talking like that would have caused more friction than resolution. Um, yeah. So I was able to adapt his way of talking, that it doesn't matter what time we got there, it doesn't matter if we're blocking the entire parking lot because it's lunchtime and we're dumping products in the kitchen because that's where they go. He just knew how to diffuse it, and it's just beautiful because it kind of allowed us to kind of continue our day um, beautiful and perfectly, you know. So that was good. That was excellent. That was very good, very good. And anyway, again, talking to other people, um, talking to other people, I was able to see the difference between the way he talks and the way that everybody else talks. And then when I would go out with rookie drivers, um, it's just we were not being productive that day. We would have to go back and forth because the way you would talk, the way that person was talking to the customer, just it wasn't appropriate. Um, so I was able to do that, and I think that most new CDL drivers don't really have the opportunity to do stuff like that, to really self-analyze yourself enough that what exactly, it's not just getting your CDL, you know, because of training a whole bunch of people. Yeah, you can get your CDL, but you have to learn how to use it. Mm. You have to learn how to use it, and that's how you use it, by creating different avenues where you can actually adapt certain personalities that will help you be more productive. All right. Um, but that's after you get your CDL. Prior to getting your CDL, this is the topic that I get hit a lot because of, being as a trainer for the past 15 years and opening up CDL schools and stuff like that. The one thing I can tell the public now is that I've been in the CDL school, the CDL school, for a long time. I have assisting opening one, and I have actually physically opened one, and we're in the process of opening a couple of ones, but that's tomorrow. Yesterday, in the past, I assist opening one, and I opened one myself. So I know it works, how it works in the background when it comes down to enrollment and getting funding and organizing students, instructors, creating lesson plan for. I was hired specifically for a specific topic. When I started training, I was hired for specific because of my time at U.S. schools. I was able to successfully back up over 80,000 times, and I never hit anything. I just never did. So I was hired specifically for backing up. So most of my training is backing up, backing up. I started doing the training on the physical school for the permit years after that. Um, so once I was able to perfect how I was able to convert thoughts into words, because I personally think when it comes down to instructors, and I know one of my videos is I talked about how to find good instructors, stuff like that. Um, so the one thing I can tell you is I can tell you how to identify CDL schools that has your best interest or their best interest. So as we talking, whether it's today or next Sunday, let's make sure that we do not mention any CDL schools. Let's just keep that. It just because the CDL school is irrelevant. It's honestly it's not important which CDL you go to, because if you're enrolled in CDL school, whether you pay for it or the state's paying for, or government funding pay for it, it makes no difference. The whole point is to be able to help you thrive in that CDL school. So that way you are getting the best training possible. And I have done that before. I have actually trained people that are already enrolled in the CDL school. And at the same time, I'm kind of training you on using my own videos that I was able to upload, and that student will go to that school, and then he or she would apply what I'm giving them on the truck. And as the instructor's walking by, and this is what they tell me, as the instructor's walking by, they see the student progressing well, and they'll just leave the person alone. And say, oh, well, go ahead, keep doing that, and they move faster through the process, and they get the CDL. So I could definitely train anybody. I don't have to be physically in the school. So I just want to let you know that. But going back to getting trained. Now, the one thing I can tell you is this. As a driver, if you step away from driving and you become an instructor, you're not going to be as useful as you think you are. You could be a natural. You could be a natural. You know how to talk to people. You got some experience on talking, and you're kind of like, that's fine. But the one thing I can tell you is this. I have seen the difference between a driver that comes off the road, becomes an instructor, and really has no idea how to convert thoughts into words in a way that someone that only seen trucks on the highway can identify. That you have to learn how to do that. I have been to interviews and different interviews. I ran 5 schools all over New England, and when I go to these schools that I was in charge of, I would hear instructors talk to the student as I'm walking by, kind of like let the wind pick up a couple words, and I could tell you, I was like, man, like that student is not gonna get what the instructor is trying to convey, because even though I understand what the instructor is saying because of my experience, that student, there's no way that student can take that information and convert it into a way that they can actually move that vehicle the way the instructor is planning on it. So for that, I make sure that the instructor that I was in charge of, you got to get trained to be an instructor. You have to get trained. You have to get trained. It's just something that you have to get trained. So, but the problem is when truck drivers remove themselves from the vehicle and they become instructors, you have to learn something else. It can't just be, oh, well, I'm a truck driver for 20 years, 30 years. I can be a good instructor. That just doesn't happen that way. It's just, I can tell you is, and whoever's in the CDL school, go ahead and post a comment in there. I'm going to tell you, yeah, you have to get trained for it. I've seen a lot of instructors get frustrated. They get frustrated because they cannot convey that thought that we obviously subconsciously we can take that vehicle and move it any way we want. But you got to do it in a way that the student or the person you're training can understand that, can visually see exactly what we see, so that way that truck mimics what we're doing. So you got to get trained. You got to get trained. But the problem is, and again, we're going to keep every CDL school name off the platform. We're not going to say nothing about no school specifically. The one thing that I have realized, that I have noticed in these CDL schools, is that they're not training their instructors properly. They're not. Mm-mm, mm-mm. What they do is they say, okay, well, student, go over there. The instructor's right there. He said, we just hired the instructor. Go ahead and he'll teach you some stuff. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. Man, I've seen some bad stuff, man. I've seen some bad stuff. I've seen students help each other out. It makes no sense. Or the instructor's trying to pass some information that he cannot convert into thoughts, into words. And then when the instructor comes in and teaches him something about what he wants the student to do, the student can't do it, just can't do it. And what I realized through years of training is that if an instructor is going to tell you how to do a maneuver at school, what I've seen, not all of them, I'm not going to go there, not all of them, but what I've noticed is that when the instructor is teaching a student how to back up a truck, he does it in a way, he does it in a way that if that instructor moves that truck, moves it away, and you see that instructor back up that truck, he or she is not backing up the truck the way that person just told that student to do so. I'm gonna say it again. I'm very passionate about this because this is going crazy. It's way too long. When the instructor teaches you or is telling you or instructing you of how to back up a commercial vehicle, that instructor is telling you to back up that truck the way he will not do it. I've seen it. It's the most impressive thing I've ever seen before, because if the instructor would just tell the student how he or she backs up that truck when he's moving the truck out the way to create another course, that instructor is not telling the student how to back up the truck the way he or she did it a few seconds ago. It's not. I'm gonna give you a perfect example. Oh my God, let me give you a perfect example. I was at the school, and I can hear over here behind me, instructor trying to teach a student how to back up a truck. And the instructor's going left, right, the whole 9 yards. Left, right. Look at the combs, look at the back of your trailer, look at it how it moves. Anyways, you know the script. They all follow the same script. And that student cannot comprehend exactly what's going on. Student going crazy to the course, hitting cones and everything, jackknifing, all kind of stuff. And it's frustrating for a student that cannot see what the instructor is doing. So the student gets out, and the instructor grabs the truck, moves it out the way, and I'm looking at the instructor moving the truck out the way, and it's not the way the instructor told the student to move the truck. And I'm thinking to myself, why is the instructor not telling the student to move that truck the way he just moved it? Which is the easiest way to train somebody. It's the easiest way to train somebody because it's the most effective way to train. So if I can tell you exactly how I did it, action, reaction, same action, same reaction. If you just take the time to learn, or I want to go as far as this, is that when the owners of that CDL school take the initiative to train the instructors in a way that is very productive, very conscious aware, because we do, when we backing up, senior drivers, when we backing up, it's subconscious. We don't think about it anymore. But if you take your time to really bring that forth back and really understand exactly what is it that I'm doing, like me personally, if I'm backing up a truck, I'm actually backing up a truck in a way that is very, I'm perceiving certain events before they happen. So I'm kind of projecting, or I'm anticipating the next move. Okay, the trailer's here, it's going to be 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 here. There's a thought process in here. So there's a visualization that's happening as the truck is here, and I'm going to move it here and here and here. Very precise thought. And if there's any misunderstanding of my own, then I remove myself, and then I kind of educate myself what's going on, where's the truck, where am I going? Boom. I kind of visualize where I'm going, what needs to be done, and I go back in the truck and I execute. Why is the instructor not saying what I just said? Any senior driver looking at this video, or any driver at all, knows exactly what I just said. Exactly what I just said. You know exactly what I just said. And you know that that's exactly how we back up. So people say, oh, well, how did you back up 80,000 times and never hit anything? Oh, because when there was a question in my thoughts about where I'm going or where I am, I remove myself from the vehicle and then see what I have to do, visualize where I'm going, and start anticipating the next step, the next boom, 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 boom. And that requires some up here, not physically here, as some of the schools are kind of going like left, right, left, right, left, right. And you know, if you're in the CDL school and you know that left, right stuff doesn't work. It's a shame. It's a shame that instructors do that. And I don't think it's their own fault. I don't think it's their own fault. You know, because like I said, it's management starts from the top. You know, the first thing I did when I became a lead instructor was do that, to organize my instructors, and then help, even though they were senior drivers or 5 years, 6 years, into it, they had a good understanding of backing down. They did. So that's what I did. The first thing I did when I became a lead instructor was to be able to go out there and teach the instructors of how to do what they do so this person can see it. And the result was just impressive. We had 100% passing rate. It will fluctuate between 99 and 98. We had the little knuckleheads that we just, But our passing rate was 100% passing rate because it was a perfect science. Again, I'm going to go back to the laws of the universe. Action, reaction, same reaction, same action, same reaction. Okay, action, reaction. My action, your actions will produce the same reaction. Meaning, if I drive the truck this way, that means you have to drive the truck this way. And that's where the disconnect is when it comes down to an effective CDL school. If the owners of the school do not take the initiative to train the instructor of how to be productive, to how to consciously think about what's going on while you move that truck, and really bring that back. Remember, subconsciously, it's back here now. We move the truck whichever way you want, but doing it enough with that conscious awareness that I need to make sure I understand what I'm doing to be able to convert someone that only seeing trucks on the highway. And the result is immediately. It's immediate. I see it on my students in the prison system. I see them. I have a simulator in the prison. I mean, even though the simulator is not real, but it does simulate the real world. So it's timed perfectly. When I teach them how to move that truck, the result is immediate. Now, they don't have any outside influence because they're in the prison, but the result is there. Even before I started working in the Department of Correction, I actually see the results immediately. When I had an effective student, they can just kind of like just do exactly what I tell you, understand what I'm giving you. I will go inside the truck and demonstrate. And I will actually go outside the truck and I'll say, okay, well, I'm getting out because I can't really see what's going on. They will get out in the same place. And they will see exactly what I just saw. So if I'm getting out, if I'm doing the angle and I'm doing loading dock, I'll stop right here. I go outside, walk. This is a tractor and trailer. I'll go outside, walk, pace myself, see what's going on, look at the trailer, look behind me where I'm going. I can visually see that within that moment, I can actually produce the result that I want, which means the trailer's here, I need to go here. I can see that the angle is actually going to fall into place. I'm not guessing anymore. I can actually see what's going on. So I relay the same thing to the student. The student will start backing up, get out at the exact same moment, and get the results identical to mine. Now explain, how is that even possible? How can I have 20 years 25 years now of experience. This individual has zero experience, but that is individual just backed up that truck the way I would, like real time, right in front of my face, without me giving any assistance on left, right, left, right, left, right. I just demonstrated. The person saw it. It got recorded, and now the student is striving to make it look the same way because subconscious, it works with the back of the brain. If you move, there's a tenth of a second back, and there's a kind of like a image of your mind about needs to be done, and you go ahead and do it. But that's basically the understanding that as long as I'm conscious aware of what I'm doing, they will see the results immediately. Incredible. I'm gonna see if I can actually get some questions here that were asked a while ago. We'll keep talking about that in a minute. We'll keep talking about that in a minute. Let's see where we're going here. So it's sad that most CDL schools are not doing that. And if you're in it, just don't tell me the school, but just you know what I mean. Just trying to get the questions here. And I think the CDL schools would be more productive if they would take the initiative to do that. To take the initiative to train their instructors on how to be productive. Stop with the left, right. That doesn't work. It just frustrates people. And then what they do is they end up just quitting. So don't do that. I know personally, and my business partner, we're done it for so long that we can pinpoint exactly the core of why people are struggling when it comes down to it, and we can hand contour the training specifically for you, because we're not doing it robotically, that we have to be able to, okay, well, left, right. No, stop. It doesn't work. If you take the initiative, the time to actually be productive and actually train the instructors of how you do it, I mean, the students will progress much faster. Give that student a chance to make it out there. Trying to see here questions about. To make sure that. Okay, let's see the comments. Okay, let me see what this comment is. Let me see. Okay. Okay, here we go. See, it says good videos. I got a school in Colorado. There's 3 instructors, but only one goes above and beyond to explain how exactly it's done. That is crazy. So this individual that's a school somewhere, I'm not gonna say it again, but has 3 instructors, and only one goes above and beyond to explain exactly how we do what we do. One instructor. No good. It should be all the instructors doing that. All the instructors. We don't have enough drivers as they are, so why would you not teach them the way they're supposed to? Let me see. All right, what companies would you recommend to sign on that pays? I would say any company that will extend your training, I will definitely go with that. Most companies do, but just ask the questions about if they're teaching you more, because what happens is, like I said, most of the schools won't give you that training that you need to actually make it effective in the real world. The way I think about it is more like, if you get your license today and you're going to New York tomorrow, do you even know how to back up that truck in New York, Boston? And I live in Connecticut, so it's around. Um, like honestly, to be 100% honest, do you know how to back up that truck in New York after you get your CDL? Think about that for a second. Mm. And that's the thing. You backing up your truck in New York. Oh, and if you've been to the East Coast, you know that 95 is just incredible. How are you supposed to back up in New York the next day you get your CDL? Because once you get your CDL, the school's pretty much done with you. You basically, okay, good luck, good luck. So how do you get to be productive as a truck driver if the CDL school is not giving you the proper training? How do you do that? You don't. Because when you get your CDL and you start back up in New York and you start driving, you technically, the public is like, well, you got a CDL, you're supposed to know how to do that. And then apparently, because they didn't train you properly, you can't. So now you have to find different ways to learn something that the school should already gave you in the first place, but they didn't. Let's see. All right. I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. Started the yard today. Maneuver today was the loading dock. It was harder than expected. So I started doing it. He was in Florida. Since student is actually in Jacksonville, Florida, and today's maneuver was 90 degrees. So basically, it's like a loading dock, and it was harder than expected. Ah, man, that's just, All right. Loading dock. That's a maneuver that most places don't teach. I know Massachusetts don't teach loading dock. Maybe they do now, maybe they wasn't. But I know when I was training in Massachusetts, not Massachusetts. I'm sorry, New Jersey. Sorry, New Jersey. Um, they didn't teach loading dock because it wasn't required to teach loading dock. Blows my mind. I ran a couple schools down there, and as I was visiting the schools, they didn't have a course for the alley dock. 9 degree, they didn't have it. So what's going on? Where's the course at? Oh, we don't require it. So I said, wow, that's what we do. We do loading dock. That's what we do. Truck drivers. We don't do parallel parking and all that stuff. Man, yeah, once or twice. But the alley dock is what we do. They wasn't teaching it. Bare minimum. Oh, I could do a whole video on explaining the lack of, I can't say that word here, but the lack of that some CDL schools have. Remember, their obligation to you is to get you a CDL. That's it. That's their obligation to get your CDL. Some job placements, but CDL. They want the numbers. Well, we have a 90% passing rate, 90% pass, whatever. But the question is, how many people are still working? How many people are still working after they get the CDL? I don't know. A productive CDL school is the one that keeps their students working after they leave their course. Let me say it again, because I want certain people to actually understand what I just said. How many students do you have that graduated that are still working? Because statistics said that the average rookie quits between, I'll say, when they leave the school, within that 3 to 5 year gap, they quit. That's it, done. So you get your license in whatever, and within that 3 to 5 years, the student quits. Frustration, doesn't have the right mentor, doesn't have the right guidance, doesn't have the right training. And the one thing that I tell my students is the first 6 months is the crucial part. The first 6 months is crucial. It's crucial. It's crucial because if you have something with the first 6 months, you're not going to get a job. The first 6 months when you get CDL, that's your crucial point. No one's going to give you CDL. No one's going to give you a job. So you have to be very alert the first 6 months to the first year, where pretty much everybody's going to hire you after that. So what I do is I tell students how I was able to do it 20 years now. Knock on wood, I never had an accident. So I tell them how I did that, how I was able to do that. And it's in the beginning of the video, it's by adapting certain personalities from other drivers, senior drivers, that I can see there will be benefit for me to adapt those qualities from them. But it starts with the CDL school. It starts right there. That's why for me personally, after so many years, I decided, let's open a couple schools, because I just don't like the way the schools are running. I just don't like it. Because I know what you're about to do. And this stuff is dangerous. But the only way for you to be productive and benefit from CDL, and for me personally, the American dream, is to hold on to the CDL past year 5. Understand that. Most new drivers quit within that 5-year gap. Some quit at 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. But that 5-year is where everything's happening. It's like that hill. So if you don't stay productive, then you're never going to make it to the other side. But I don't blame the rookies. I blame the schools. I blame the schools. If you got some experience, then you might pass the 5-year gap. But if you have some experience, then you can actually go to the schools. Here they're teaching you left, right, and you're like, yeah, that's not going to happen. That's just stupid as hell. And they do apply some of their skills that they adapted. But to go from zero, no experience whatsoever, to a CDL school and really take in exactly what's going on with the backing up and all that stuff, it takes patience. And some instructors don't have that patience. They just don't. And that's the problem right there. They got this chip on their shoulder thinking, well, you can't back up a truck up, you suck. No, you suck. You suck as an instructor, Bobby. You do. It is what it is. I have fired a couple of them. Listen, stop with this using the cone. Stop with the left, right. We don't do that. Why are you telling the student left, right? They know what left, right is. Tell them about visualization, stuff like that. Get out the truck. See about angles, maneuvers, 90-degree angle. Get that rookie to start thinking like us, like senior drivers. Let's bring them in. But some instructors just don't want to take the initiative. Like the person that just wrote me. 3 instructors, only 1 take the initiative to actually teach them the right way. Why is that 1 instructor? I don't know, because maybe I want to sleep tonight knowing that I gave you the best possible chance for you to actually make it out there, or make it past year 5, where you can start seeing the benefit and really start being productive and start really taking in the benefit of being the 10% of Americans, or 10% of men in America make $100,000. 11% of women make $100,000. So for me, that's what we want it to be. I said this in a video before. I focus on the 10%. Men here, women here. Anybody else? It is what it is. The average man makes $55,000 a year, give or take. The average woman makes $45,000 a year. We want to be at that 10%, which is 100,000. That's what we want to be. But to get there, you have to be guide. You have to be guide to there. You can't just you can figure it out. A broken clock is right twice a day. But if you have the right guidance, right mentor, you can get there much faster. You can. And that's what I'm trying to do with these videos, live feed, because I want to make sure that I don't want no questions to be left unanswered. So gather your questions, gather your questions, your comments, anything you need, and save them for Sunday. I will schedule so you'll know exactly what's going to happen, because I want to answer them in real time. But again, leave the schools out of it. We don't care about the schools. We don't care about what time, who they are and stuff like that. We don't care about them. That's easily relevant. They're not going to change the way they do things. The one thing I do understand is CDL schools are not going to change the way they work. It's just this. Some people are just cash machine, one in, one out, one in. I know when we had our school, we go outside. You can see the owner. We will talk to them, and we talking to the students, stuff like that. So it's not like we're in a seat, so that we're still outside training. but I want to be able to answer the questions. You know, as long as it's about trucking, I would say next Sunday, what we're gonna do is we can go further on discussing CDL schools, how to pick the right one. If you have the question on a specific maneuver that you're trying to get, I can tell you exactly. I remember when I helped open a school, we took all the measurements and stuff like that. So we know, I knew the dimensions of the course and stuff like that. So I can tell real quickly exactly what is your core. If you can give me the question as exactly what is it that's causing you to be frustrated, you think about quitting, you feel like the instructor's not really giving you that core information, write it down and let me know exactly what is it, and I can help you. I can tell you exactly. It's nothing more than a mind shift. You can't do nothing about the schools, you can't do nothing about instructors. That's just something you can't do nothing about, that they have to do that themselves. But what we can do is, let's help you get away from that school by me helping you get that maneuver. So if you tell me, oh well, Eddie, or this maneuver, offset, I keep going this way, I keep doing this, I keep hitting the same cone, I keep doing this, I keep doing that, I can tell you exactly what is it that's causing you to do that repetitive over and over again. It seems like the instructor's not catching it, so I will tell you that. I've trained a lot of people, and it doesn't matter if it's Massachusetts, Ohio, or any state that I have trained. The rookies are very predictable. Very predictable. You're doing the same thing that the person in Massachusetts is doing, same person in New Jersey is doing. It's the same thing. So the second I tell you exactly what is it that you're doing, and I tell you a way to rectify it, your result will be immediately. It's literally like instantly. Okay. Let me see if I find another question here. Someone say, oh, you're in Arizona. It's too hot. Let me see what got. Someone said, look at the space, the path, not the cones. The cones are just there. They're just barriers, not a guide. That's something that most new drivers do. They look at the cones and they don't realize the cones are not there to teach you how to do anything. They're just there to kind of keep you away from that area. And it's something that, and I'm sure you can relate. I'm sure every rookie does the same thing. And I know I remember doing it too. When I was training, is the cones are not there to guide you. They're not there to help you with anything. They're just there to just keep you on that wall. Like you go from here to here, it's 12 feet wide. So when you're backing up, you looking at the cones, I don't know why. And I do hear the instructors talk about that. But we can go in details if you have an issue with it. My second week, and I'm struggling. I do it one-on-one, and I screw it 10 times. My second week, and I'm struggling. Oh, I see. Okay, so here you go. My second week, and I'm struggling. I do it one time well, and then 10 times wrong. I was like, oh man, I do it one, and then I screw up 10 times. I see that a lot. The student is does some do well one time, and then they kind of get. I seen it in real time. They kind of get more excited. They get excited. They got it. They got the maneuver. They got it. So I said, okay, do it again one more time, and then they can't do it like 10 times. To be more specific, it's like you get excited, and being excited kind of loses the idea of what just happened. You're excited, I heard this saying a long time ago: is they don't get excited because you get sloppy. So I tell the student, no, let's just keep going. Let's keep going. Remember, we have to do it 27 more times because it becomes a habit. So that's basically it. But what I tell students is that you have to do the same thing, repeat the same action. But the problem is, no offense to anybody, but a broken clock is right twice a day. That's what I heard. So what I want you to understand is that just because you did it one time, it doesn't mean you're done. No, do it again the same way. Now, no two maneuvers are the same, so you might have to make a small adjustment, excuse me, depending on the angle that you at. If you have a, see, if you start this way, that's one angle, but if you start this way, that's a different maneuver. So by being organic in adjusting, because remember, this is, and I'm gonna go back to that same question. I do it right one time, and I screwed up 10 times. No two maneuvers are the same. Now, if you program yourself to do it one way, so let's say she or he did it one specific way and it landed perfectly. Okay. As you pulled up again, your setup could have been just a little different, little tilt to the right or tilt to the left, and now that maneuver is not the same. So now you're gonna replicate the maneuver, but it's not gonna give you the same result. It's just not gonna give you the same result. So now the rookie goes, oh, I did it once, I screwed up 10 times. Because that one time that you did it, that truck was positioned the way that you saw what needs to be done. But then when you line it up or you did it again, you did this action, but this action was not meant for this maneuver or this setup. So if you understood what I just said, you program yourself to do it one way. Now, it worked that way. If you position the truck exactly the way it was positioned before, then that action will produce the same result, which is the way she or she is doing it. But if the truck is set up different with a slight tilt, angle, or something that's not the same angle, that action will not produce the same result because the truck is no longer positioned the way that you did it before. And I think that's the reason why, and I personally know that's the reason why that person cannot nail that one maneuver, because of the fact that nobody told that person that that's a different angle, that's a different setup. So you're gonna have to adjust a little bit, just a little bit to be able to produce that same result with a slight modification of the angle that you started off with. But that's what I was talking about earlier about instructors being able to pinpoint that person's core, because not every single person is the same. We're all different vibrations up here. So I can't tell you what the person did for that student, or what that student needed to be done, because you might not have the same issues. Okay. All right. Well, I just want to come up here and kind of set things in motion. Make sure you guys know that I'll be here every Sunday. I'm going live. I might post a video here and there, depending, but I kind of want to go live to make sure I answer questions live in real time. I don't want you guys to be posting my questions and then I just get sidetracked with the schools and the prison system and not answer your questions. So save your questions. See what time I'm going to be scheduled. It's going to be every Sunday. Every Sunday I'm going to be right here. I got my yeah, where you at? Jeez, right here. Military Academy, right there, my son, West Point. All day. Thank you for your service. If you're a veteran, thank you for your service. Appreciate that. And I did a comment before about how militaries, when they step outside the military, they can go into trucking, only because it's dangerous, and you guys are already in tune with that. But every Sunday, I'm going to be here answering questions. The one question that I do not get a lot, and I'm going to give you guys a week to really think about this, is what I was saying earlier. How do you date being a truck driver? How do you date? How do you date? That's a question there, man. That's a loaded question. Loaded question, because I know I have my experience, and I know tons of my circles that have been in trucking for a long time, and they have their own stories. And I can only give you my advice. I can only give you their advice, but eventually you got to do it yourself. But just know, trucking and relationship, I'm not gonna say it's not gonna work. I won't say that. But at the same time, just know there's gonna be some conflict. There's gonna be some obligation that you have to commit to trucking that you might not have the time to give it to somebody else. But we're gonna leave it there. We're gonna hold on to that, because if you don't have that support system at home, you might not make it past the 5 year. You might not make it past the 5 year mark. And I think that's the reason why I personally think that, yeah, the training, but the relationship when it comes down to your significant other does play a role in you holding on to that career, because it's extremely dangerous. Trucking is dangerous. It's dangerous. So you need to hold on to that reason why you became a truck driver. If it's an American dream and you want to buy a house or your family, 100%, But I want to talk about that. I don't want to just talk about the school, finding the right company. I want to talk about more things, how to invest, how to take the money. Because trucking is not something you do forever. Eventually, you're going to have to step away from trucking and invest in something else. We'll talk about that. Talk about relationship in trucking. Yeah, we'll talk about pretty much everything there is to know about trucking. All right. I want to say thank you for holding on. Thank you for being patient. Share, subscribe. You guys can share this. I'm bringing the truth. I'm telling you the truth. I might get a little heat from the CDL schools around. But freedom of speech is still here. Yep. Still here. There's only 1.5 truckers in America driving around. There's more. But like myself, I have a CDL, but I'm teaching now. But the active CDL drivers, there's only 1.5 in America, like driving around all America. That's it. But yeah, there's 15 million trucks registered in America. Think about that. If you Google right now, how many CDL trucks are registered in America? 15 million. How many active CDL drivers in America? 1.5 million. To the point that now we're training second chance individuals. I call them students. I would call it inmates. Doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It's still individuals. They're still going to go back out in the real world. I prefer to help them become active, productive citizens. Because my history, I was able to select it to actually train them. But that's it. 1.5 million truckers. So the potential to make so much money is there. I train the inmates, the females and men. I train them both. The potential is there, but you got to get trained properly. And then I think the CDL schools are losing that core reason why they even opened the CDL school in the first place. It could have been a justified reason why they opened the school, but I think over time it just became a something that you just rinse and repeat, and now you're just pumping out drivers that are not qualified to be driving out there. They're just not. That's it. For me, that's dangerous, because I was able to be trained properly myself, and I saw the benefit of it. I'm still seeing the benefit of it. 25 years later, I'm still seeing the benefit of it. And we got people that can't even make it year 1, year 2, year 5. All right. So this is Eddie Cruz for Trucking Master CDL Training. Thank you for hanging around. I see people come in, people go out. That's cool. Do your thing, man. But if you find anything that I'm telling you useful, take it. I'm telling you, take it, because I have had a lot of mentors in my life that guide me, whether it's to becoming a good productive instructor, good productive lead instructor, field director, and all the way up to where I am now, correctional vocational instructor at the prison system. And I have mentors all different levels. I was not going to try to figure this out on my own. This is not an industry that you want to try to figure this out on your own. Don't do that. Don't do that. Grab yourself somebody that you can emulate, that what they say vibrates. Here, it vibrates. Ooh. Hold on to that person. Senior drivers, we want to share information. We want to. But most new drivers, they just don't want to. They think they got it. They think, oh, I got this. Okay. I will see you guys next week, next Sunday. Like I said, share and subscribe. It's Eddie Cruz for Trucking Masters. Write down the questions. Write them down. Any questions whatsoever. Any questions. Just don't display where they're from, the school. Don't do that. Just what's the core issue? And if you're a driver already, and there's something that you need to perfect that was not given to you, let me know. I can help you with that. If it's about relationship that you're kind of struggling with the relationship, your new driver, the other person doesn't understand the immense responsibility you have of having a CDL, the amount of hours you're spending a day out there, then you might not be productive as a good husband or wife or boyfriend, whatever. Let me help you with some experience that I had from before myself or other drivers that shit, maybe they will help you. Everything about trucking is a whole thing, but all you need is one or two, three individuals, three mentors. I would say three mentors that can help you up here, not physically. That's just up here, right? Again, it's Group Trucking Master CDL training. I see you guys next Sunday, and like I said, welcome to this every Sunday live event. We're gonna go into crazy, and I haven't even talked about OSHA training. That's another thing, OSHA training that I'm gonna be doing on Sunday. I just got done doing OSHA training earlier a couple hours ago. OSHA 30, OSHA 10. How do you apply the OSHA in a CDL? If you're a new driver and you're still in the CDL school, how do you use the OSHA 10 while you're going to school? If you have the OSHA 30 and you have the CDL, remember OSHA 30 or CDL 2 or the federal safety, how do you use them together? Because maybe trucking is not for you. Maybe trucking is like, oh well, too much. Then you put that OSHA 30 on top of the CDL, and you can do some good stuff with that. You talk about management, transportation supervisor, safety coordinator. Oh, beautiful. And I can help you become certified OSHA 30, OSHA 10. But I can help you in different levels. So I'm hoping that I can see questions about that next week, about how to use the OSHA 10 while you're still in the school, while you have your permit, or how to use the OSHA 30 with the CDL. I can definitely do that, help you. I'm doing that already. All right. So I can do that for anybody. I do the classes every weekend. If it's OSHA 10, I could do it in the weekend, 5 hours Sunday. 5 hours Saturday, 5 hours Sunday. OSHA 30 would be 3 weekends. But I do it right here, you and I. All right. Ask me questions. We can talk. We do that. All right. Whatever I have, the best quote, and I'll leave you with this. The best quote I have ever heard, ever, is what I want from me, I want for you. I'll leave you at that. It's Eddie Cruz Trucking Masters. I'll see you guys around.